what is Trump going to do next? So basically, with the corrupt Ukrainian government and the oligarchic Russia going toe to toe, with Ukraine being a victim of Russian aggression, but also Russia feeling that NATO's encroaching on its sovereignty through its bordering countries, it now brings up a fundamental question. What will Donald Trump do next? Is Donald Trump going to outright side with Ukraine? Sorry, side with Russia? Is that what he's going to do? Or maybe here's what I think is going to happen. I think the United States has been, I could be wrong, but I think the United States has been moving towards isolationism for a long time. I think overall they've seen the fruits of their labor in Iraq, Libya, Syria, Afghanistan, and they realize that the fruits are shit. It hasn't really created a stable investment climate for the United States. It didn't accomplish the same goal of creating these neoliberal democratic regimes that would capitulate to U.S. finance capital. Finance capital is basically money. So U.S. directly investing um, in Iraqi, Afghani, Syrian, etc. industries, and also opening up their own companies in those countries, and then extracting extreme profits from these third world countries through the super exploitation of its workers and bringing that money back to the United States and using it to prop up its economy. But that doesn't. But they saw that the result wasn't really good. So with the Ukraine, I think Trump's like, all right, this shit hasn't worked. I'm gonna head out the SpongeBob meme because at the end of the day, I think the United States is getting a bit tired of bashing its head against a concrete wall. And I think Trump is just looking at things logically and pragmatically, as much as I'm not a big fan of him. And then there's ethically, I feel quite weird about this because as corrupt as the Ukrainian government is with its veneration of a Holocaust perpetrator, Bandera, and the fact that the leaders of the revolution that were appointed to key positions of power, like what was his name, Andrei Perubi, were founders of fascist, like literal Nazi parties, or neo-Nazi rather. As much as that sucks, that doesn't necessarily mean that, you know, the Ukrainian people deserve what's happening to them. It's most unfortunate. See, Russia has a culture of war paranoia where they're constantly waiting for the next war. And this is they've had to deal with war for a long time, and I think NATO encroaching on Russian territory has really made them paranoid. And to be honest, for good reason. The United States has tried to overthrow the Russian government and put in a regime that was more hospitable to the United States' interest. And Russia, in the special period after the dissolution or collapse, depending on your perspective, of the Soviet Union, really suffered under the regime that was favorable to the United States. Russian people really suffered during that time. And now you have this oligarchic, yet also nationalistic figure, Vladimir Putin, who's in power. And for a while, Russia's economy, before the sanctions, were doing really well. So now Russians feel a degree of affection towards Putin. And it's kind of hard to say, like, to what degree do Russians support Putin, given the fact that the sanctions have probably destroyed Russia's, or crippled Russia, or severely hampered Russia's economy, and reduce the amount of support that Putin has. But there's obviously a real support base in Russia. After all, if he had no support, then he would be done. But yeah, I feel for the Ukrainian and the Russian people that are being fed into this meat grinder of a war. I truly pray for both of them. And I hope for peace. And a principled peace that allows both Russian people and Ukrainian people to live in peace.